Pensacola right now on News Radio 92.3, and we're going to go to the phones. We've been trying to get him for a couple weeks now, but, we've been busy. We had the severe thunderstorms, and, of course, he's busy as well. But I thought it would be really cool to kind of check in with Channel 3's Tanner Stewart once a week just to try to build on the relationship that we have with Channel 3, the partnership there. And I liked the name I came up with, Tanner, and we'll see if you like it. The week that was with Tanner Stewart. How does that sound?
I can dig it, Joe. I like it for now.
Awesome. So with that in mind, really we've got, in my estimation here locally, we've got kind of three big stories that have kind of happened here just in the last 24 to 48 hours or so. You were out there earlier today. Really just a bizarre situation going on in Gulf Breeze with Dr. Elaine Sharp's office. We had Brett Kearney out at the scene yesterday when this broke, that there was FDLE agents out at the doctor's office yesterday. Pretty damning allegations that have been coming out here. You were out there this afternoon, rather. So just kind of tell us what you saw.
Well, what we're looking at right now, before I get to when we actually arrived at the clinic this afternoon, is this order of emergency restriction of license from the state of Florida Department of Health, which is in sync with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement's findings. And what the Department of Health has issued is an emergency restriction of Dr. Sharp's license to practice as a medical doctor in the state of Florida. So it's not so much of a restriction entirely. She's still acting today even as an OBGYN. She has just been restricted to not being able to prescribe or administer anything of controlled substance, anything related to that. So we were at the clinic today. We went just before they opened, and we noticed there were several cars in the parking lot, several patients coming in and out once the clinic did open. I went in there and I spoke with an employee that was in the lobby when I got there, and he told me that he pretty much knows what we know from this report, and that is essentially these accusations from a Florida Department of Law Enforcement investigation. But as far as today goes, the clinic is still open, is still active for OB-GYN practices. They're not taking controlled substances, and you'll see that on a sign outside the door. You'll see it in our broadcast tonight that I snapped a picture of that says closed for controlled substances, at least for 30 days, which is, I guess, 30 days as of yesterday, being July 22nd, will be when they could potentially start selling up, but the case is still open, so you don't know at this point what could happen. FDLE hasn't reported a whole lot on this case, at least as of the last 24 hours, other than they're still working. No charges have been filed against Dr. Sharp. Still early in the case.
Yeah, and he told Brett yesterday probably going to be a while, so we'll just have to keep our eye on that. Any success in talking with any patients? That I would imagine, if I was a patient there, I don't know. I'm not a patient there, but if this was something that had happened just yesterday, I would certainly have some questions if I was a patient. But how was that? Were they any of them willing to speak?
We weren't able to speak with patients. What we did do is go to nearby business owners and residents, and a few of them didn't go on camera to tell us this, but say that they were a little suspicious at times. They had reached out over a medical marijuana card that Dr. Sharp's office was certified to issue. The problem is, and that's included in this order of emergency restriction, is she only accepted cash. There was no credit, there was no debit transactions at her office, only cash, and it seemed to be alarming, at least in this order from FDLE, and some nearby residents there also said the same. So haven't had any luck talking to patients. I certainly welcome it. I've asked on social media if there's any patients willing to speak. You can always reach out to me at Tanner Stewart on Facebook, and we'll always listen.
Talking with Tanner Stewart with WER Channel 3. Tanner, the other big thing that you've really had a focus on in the last few weeks is on education. And earlier this week we had, I believe, the first formal school board meeting with Keith Leonard at the helm as the interim superintendent, and there was the conversation over the interim contract. So You were there for that. What was the tone, the tenor in the office and in the meeting rooms when you had a lot of public comment as well, mainly in support, I thought?
There has been a lot of support for Superintendent Leonard, Interim Superintendent Leonard, throughout this time, and there has been a lot of support for him in his role before this. And the sentiment that I've gotten, at least over the last couple of months, from the district, from Charter Schools USA, who has played a major role in the shape of the school district over the last few months, is everyone wants to move forward. And I think you see that support being given to the interim superintendent throughout the county right now. The main focus is moving forward for the betterment of the students, of course, to see how teachers' quality of life can improve inside the schools and things of that nature. So it'll be interesting, Joe, to see what happens over the next year with this interim superintendent at the helm. And of course, moving forward, they're going to have to find a permanent one. It could very well be the interim superintendent, who I've asked if he plans to apply, and his answer is simply, he's the interim superintendent right now, and that's his goal, and that's what he's going to focus on for the foreseeable future.
Yesterday, Tanner, you were out at Santa Rosa County for the public forum and the commissioner meeting, and we've seen now over the last few weeks at least, and I'm sure even further back, where these meetings are, I don't know if hijacked is too strong of a word, but they've definitely kind of gone off the rails, and that was the case again yesterday. Why did that happen?
Emotions were high at Santa Rosa County meeting, and it's funny because a lot of our education coverage will get into some specific school districts. Over a few months I'll cover the Escambia County School District, depending on what's happening there. Sometimes I'll look at Santa Rosa County. Sometimes we compile data from Escambia all the way to Walton County, and that in some cases can form a story if it's a statewide issue. But going to the Santa Rosa County thing, it's interesting because this was initially a bigger issue, it seems, in Escambia County schools. It has since spread over the banning of books, as some call it, the removal of books, as others call it, across the state, depending on how you look at it. But it all stems from what many say is pornographic material in school library books that many want to be removed from the shelves. The problem is, for the school district, is they have a strict policy that they have to follow in removing books. This policy goes long before any kind of politics that's gotten involved in this whole ordeal across the nation. Santa Rosa County Schools follows a very strict process when removing a book, and no district, to my knowledge, just removes a book. I think it has happened in some cases, but not as close as Escambia and Santa Rosa County. They follow strict processes. So what you're seeing over in Santa Rosa County is a similar wish by some parents and some advocates who want to see these books removed, and they've gone as far now as asking the county commission to do this. You also have a county commissioner, James Calkins, who asked for a resolution yesterday for the Board of County Commissioners to encourage the school district to remove these books. And all four other commissioners in Santa Rosa County, they agreed that certain material doesn't belong in the school libraries. But they also agreed that it's not their role to determine what happens in school. It's their role to determine what happens, as you heard from Committee Chair Colton Wright, worrying about drainage issues and retention ponds and things that county commissions work on. So moving forward, I wouldn't expect to see the Santa Rosa County Commission take up school issues. They seem to take no interest in that yesterday. As to say if a commissioner will bring up an item related to schools, we don't know.
Well, Tanner, we certainly appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. The week that was with Tanner Stewart. Sounds pretty good.
It sounds good to me, Joe. I appreciate you having me. Look forward to being back on.
All right.